conversation. It's more than just the gossip, it's the issues that matter most to you. A closer look at current events, just the tip, special guests, and more. Welcome to Let's Have a Fefe, Arizona's longest-running drag live stream. Hosted by Felicia Fefe Minor and Freddy Prinze Charming. Streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Promotional consideration for Let's Have a Fefe provided by Wigs of a Kind, The Burly Barber, Bone and Basil, as well as our patrons at Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Let's Have a Fefe to become a Fefe patron. Virtual tips accepted at paypal.me/Let's Have a Fefe. Welcome to Let's Have a Fefe.
Oh, wow. She made it. She made it.
No business like show business, honey. Oh my God. I think I pulled something. I ran through the house and almost slipped on
you okay? Oh my goodness.
Wow. What episode are we at? This is episode 31, 32.
She's vocal tonight, isn't she?
I've worked 2 15-hour days. So me running in here is like her barely seeing me. So yeah.
Good time.
Oh my God. Let's get started. I am Felicia Fefe Minor out of fucking from running to the back door to get my husband to zip my costume, putting my hair on right before the intro was over. And our intro is like, what, less than a minute?
Less than a minute. Yep. And I'm still Mr. US of AMI Classic, Freddy Prinze Charming. Working some sort of something. I don't know what's happening here. This is literally what I had. I'm like, I had to look and see what I had handy because we've been doing.
I love how you have antlers handy.
I did have antlers handy. I absolutely had antlers handy. And then I had these like nifty goggles, which I think kind of make me look like a moth.
Yeah.
So I could be like this antler moth thing. I don't know. It's what I had. It's literally shit that was like lying on top of stuff. So that's what
I see things at Comic-Con all the time. I'm like, is that real? Is that really real?
So, yep, this is what you get. And it's okay because the folks that are, watching us or listening to us on the podcast or whatever, you don't get to see this. So it's totally fine. You have me and weird antlered moth thing, and you have Felicia pretending she's a dance queen. It's fine.
Yeah, it's just yes. Thanks, Crystal. It takes a lot to look this cheap. I think that I just popped the zipper.
Oh.
So it may come off while you're talking.
Oh, that'll be exciting. I can't guarantee how long all this shit's gonna stay on my head because it's like between like the wig, the antlers, and all this. I'm like, oh, this is lots of pressure.
Oh my gosh, we are just the complete
lots of
mess.
Pressure on my head right now. It's okay. It's fine.
We are the complete mess. But we are supported by 19 patrons. Allison,
yes,
Bess,
we are.
Brandon, Cassandra 1S, Cassandra 2S, Drake Jensen, Casey Starr, Carrie and Corey, Kim, Joan, Jody, Leanne, Nicole, Patricia Mason, Sassy C. Diaz, Shelly, and Sky. Special thanks to our friends, Cassandra 1S, and Patricia Mason, Sky, and Drake Jensen for taking the deeper plunge. Special thanks to Joan of Babish, Jewelry and Wood Art. I've seen some nice stuff coming out of Joan's.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Special thanks also to Guido Martin and Jeremy Bright of Ripple Phoenix. You can donate to us because What you don't know is before the show, Freddy was having a meltdown because the computer that he was on was not functioning to its capacity.
Y'all don't understand. Every time I turn this computer on, I am terrified that it's just not going to work. That it's done. And there's like, these are legitimate concerns, because tonight I turned it on and it said, first it took 10 minutes to actually try and do anything. And mind you, I turned it on at just barely after 7. So it's not like I turned it on last minute. Like, I turned it on just a little bit after 7. And first it took forever and it wasn't doing anything. And I'm like, okay, what is happening now?
You need to turn it on and give it some time to warm up. Like at 6 o'clock.
Right. And then it said, oh, we couldn't install the update, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to like remove all the updates. So don't turn anything off. And I'm like, cool. And how long is this going to take? Like,
that would be nice. Like, if the people that make software and all that stuff, if they could like tell, like, you know, make the software tell you like how much time it actually would take to do these things, instead of
you would think with all the damn technology that we have. Well, it didn't even give me a percentage. It didn't say anything. It just said, it just said, we're just going to uninstall all the things, but it didn't give me like a, 16% done or anything like that. It just whatever. So it could have been like 3 hours. It could have been 3 days. I don't know.
With that being said, tip us, sponsor us, give us all of your money. Or just, if you want to just go buy the computers, that would be great.
We can tell you which ones.
We have it bookmarked, saved. Like, I could put it in the comments if y'all want.
Yeah, we're like, ooh, we are getting desperate here.
Need help? I'll be like, oh,
we are getting desperate here. It's not cute. It's not cute.
But on top of that, I did not do a show alert tonight because after working 2 15-hour days, and then sometimes the baby don't sleep all the way through the night. Like last night, I came home from work and I just wanted to sleep.
Nothing a bottle of NyQuil won't fix.
Oh my God, a bottle.
Just put it in her bottle. It's fine.
Oh my God.
Totally okay.
But
stay here for more parenting tips.
Oh my God, that's so scary. You could text LHAF, which makes it sound like something as fuck, to 602-730-7379. Oh, I just thought of something too. If you also, this has nothing to do with the phone number. My brain is on this weird, it's recovering from damage. Anyway, if you all know any LGBTQ artists, I have 2 causes, one for our own and one for Drag Queen Story Hour. Both are great causes. Ours is desperate. But both causes are looking for LGBTQ artists. Ours cannot promise commission. Artists on the Drag Queen Story Hour possibly could get commission. So if you do it for us and do it for Drag Story Hour, you could get commission that way.
You could. For us, you will get undying gratitude.
We're going to pay you an
exposure.
As a photographer, I hate that. But if you're willing, if you're not, if you want to do the, hi, Sassy Gorilla. If you want to do the Drag Queen Story Hour, just reach out to Freddy or me, and we can get you in contact with them so that you can get to work. What we got going on? What'd you do this weekend?
So Saturday we both did the family themed drag story hour, which was fun. I haven't done a drag story hour in a minute, so that was like my first one in a couple months. It was really exciting.
Oh wow.
I know. Nobody ever picks me for anything anymore. It's fine. Whatever.
I just signed up. I just signed up.
I try, but then it's fine. Whatever. But I still firmly believe that Michelle had ulterior motives in giving me Worm Loves Worm because of all the different voices that were in that one. So
well, she knew that I couldn't do it. So I could just see the kids being like, "Mommy, can you put in the comments, don't do that?"
They're all grabbing the phones. Stop. On the home front, we finally got the living room, the kitchen, the family and game room thing like completely done. I hung up like my cast iron pots and all of that. Everything is like,
and they're not falling out of the ceiling.
They're not falling. They're on the wall. So it was that's good. We got the wall in our bedroom painted, and by we I mean that my partner painted the wall because I was busy working very hard. I was
supervising.
Working. So
you were supervising, weren't you?
I was working. And so she painted the wall, so we finally were able to get that done. And we hung up the really cool like moon wreath that was made by Peppermint Schnapps.
Oh, I've been meaning to get one of those.
It's so pretty. It looks so good on a wall. Like it's really, really cool.
I love decorating.
We're getting there. We're almost done. I was working. You shut your face. So it's
about to turn into Jerry Springer.
Whatever. It's fine. And then on Saturday, a friend of ours.
That's investigative professional development.
Right? It's like it's research. Hello.
It sounds more professional. We were doing professional development.
Adult education, continuing education. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Saturday, a friend of ours happened to mention that she went to Arizona Fund Services, which is going out of business. And then I had a migraine. And everything was 75% off. So we loaded up a couple of kids that wanted to go with us and drove down to Tempe to check this out. And this is how I get in trouble. This is what happened when Easley's went when Easley's went under, when the one shop in Mesa went under. Like I always go and load up on
Bubbles
stuff.
of Joy.
That's Bubbles of Joy. That's the one. Yeah. So we went down and found a whole bunch of shit, including a whole shit ton of wig heads. So now, Marissa, I have empty wig heads. I will have a lot of full wig heads because I have more wigs than I realized. But I've now got some empty wig heads that are going to need some wigs for that empty wig heads. But I got room now. And then I went back today and got more because today I decided that I needed a mental health day. So I took the day off and went and volunteered at Joshua Tree. And then after that went back down to Arizona Fund Services to get more wig heads and some other shit. But so I wanted to mention this. So most of the folks here in Phoenix know that on Wednesdays, Joshua Tree Feeding Program does their food distribution for the folks in the community who are HIV positive. Which is it's an amazing program. I try to volunteer there like at least once a month. Usually it's once a month. It depends on my work schedule or whatever. Sometimes like last month I wasn't able to go, but I go at least once a month if I can. And it's an amazing, they're a great bunch of people and it's a great organization, but they've actually started doing a new thing. It's brand spanking new. They've only done it for a couple of weeks. So it's still rolling out. But now on Fridays, starting at 9 a.m., if you or someone you know is a member of the trans community, regardless of what your HIV status is, and you need assistance with things like groceries and stuff like that, if you go to Joshua Tree on Fridays at 9 a.m., it's the same concept as their Wednesday distribution, but it's specifically geared towards the trans community, which is awesome because statistically, the trans community is some of the most underemployed and unemployed demographic. They're also, so many trans folks are houseless. They really don't have a permanent place to live. So this is going to be a massive help. So if you know anybody who is trans and who may need this help, or if you know somebody who knows somebody, help get that word out there. Because this is going to be a great help to the trans community. We can make sure that, our friends in our trans siblings are able to get food and get groceries and be able to sustain a better quality of life. So help get the word out there, folks. If you can, go to the Joshua Tree Feeding Program Facebook, and when you see things like when they're posting it, when they're they've got it, share the post, because you never know who's going to see it, who needs it. So definitely go and check that out. What did you do this weekend?
So I story hour, but hold on, let me find the Joshua Tree face.
I'm about to take all of this shit off my head. It's really hot and it's really tight.
Wow. You should save that for the wow. Never mind.
Oh God. I know. I should.
So
Terrible.
we did the Saturday reading, and then I did some other stuff because once you're in drag, you kind of do like take pictures of the books. You do but of course I go overboard. I have like some TikTok saved, some things, so if you don't follow me on TikTok, you should.
I don't have a TikTok.
Obviously.
Jesus.
Oh yes. Oh, do you want me to type that in there too?
Oh God.
Wait, let me get the Joshua Tree thing situated. I don't know why.
I feel like I should have a TikTok, but I really don't care enough to have a TikTok. So.
Oh Lord.
All right, some of this shit's coming off because it's tight on my head. Ow. There, it's pretty. Look how pretty.
Oh wow.
All right, I almost made it half the show. I can't do it anymore though. I can't.
Oh wow.
Here, I'll put these back on. So.
Oh, that's what's gonna help. Okay.
Yep, that's what's gonna help.
Oh wow.
You're welcome.
Oh, good.
You are welcome.
Good for you, trying things and doing things.
You know what? I'm old, and this is what you're gonna get. So
that's it, huh?
It's fine. I took pictures and I made it this long. That was it. Folks got to see it. That's good enough.
So Saturday I spent doing that, and then just kicking back, and then. On Sunday was going to be like my, get things done, move about the cabin and, fly about. No, I think that fatigue set in because I know this about myself, and I clearly, you can tell by my Facebook that I am this person. I am a workaholic. And I also like to prove people wrong in my workplace too. So sometimes that happens. So a little bit of that took over in the last couple weeks. So I had to. I almost want to say I took a sick day at home, but 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 this is how much of a workaholic I am. I worked on some flyers and some photos. Yes, coming soon.
It's fine. I'll just wait.
Well, you won't have to wait very long.
Oh, that's exciting. Here, I'll try again.
But, oh, Jesus.
It's really hard to do this.
ASAP. SOS.
It's really hard to do this since it's not mirrored. So I'm like, this is
no. It was better. It was better this way.
Thank you, Felicia. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
But yes, I was in bed on Sunday and then worked Monday and Tuesday, 15 hours each.
Ugh.
Yay.
That does not sound fun.
So today I came home at a decent hour because I wanted to be here with you all. But
we appreciate that.
I'm sure in the eyes of my family, this is work too. So they're
it's kind of like, it's like, you know, I took I took a mental health day from, like, you know, my actual work, but then ended up still running around and doing nothing that like was like relaxing. You know what I mean? Like, was still doing stuff.
Put the costume back on.
You know what? It's fine. Shh.
I say ditch the goggles.
It's fine. Oh god, we're fine. You know what?
Wow.
Do you know how hard it is to like deal with things like goggles and antlers and a wig and all these things that go on one's head? It's fine. We're fine. It's fine. Just don't look at me. Just don't look at me. It's fine. We're just keep
Marissa,
talking. SOS. We're fine. Everything is fine here.
But overall, I have been just busy, and I hope that it all is rewarding. I say that with, yeah, he got horny again. And for those on the podcast, the antlers went on and then they came back. They were off and then they came back on. So,
oh Christ, here we go.
Christ has something.
It's fine. You know what? The antlers got to go. I can't. Everything.
It's the antlers or the goggles. I thought it was.
Yes, it's all the thing. You know what? It's fine. We're just. It's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. There's nothing to see here. Watch the podcast. Listen to the pod. Just listen to the podcast. You know what? Go ahead, y'all, and just close your eyes and just listen to us. It's fine.
Oh wow!
It's all fine.
Wow.
We're fine. Everything is fine. And I swear to God, I have something in my eye, and my eye is gonna start watering, which means everything is just gonna melt. It's fine. We're fine. Everything is fine.
Okay.
Happy Wednesday. Whoop, there. I kind of look like a weird gray Grinch. I don't know what's happening.
Something like, no,
not that kind of show.
You have look here. I know you live with him, but you have to go here to see that.
See it. Where is it?
There it is. For the rest of the audience, you get it for free, but the audience will have to go there to see that. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Okay, we're fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Oh my God. I don't know. My eye is going to start watering. Everything. Anyway.
Moving on to the tip. So before you go into the tip, I totally was just thinking about this because you know how my Instagram is like Black Lives Matter, and then I have all the LGBTQ, and then I was like, what about alphas? Do they have like a flag? Do betas have a flag? And I couldn't find anything that was like concrete because you know I do my research. I'm not one of those people that's like, I'm gonna post on the internet. So I was looking, but I'm interested in this, and we have talked about it a little bit, but I'm interested to talk about this.
So, all right. So tonight for my tip, I'm going to talk about and I call these myths because I think they're a bunch of horse shit. I'm going to preface that right now. I think all of this is a bunch of horse shit, and it all has to do with toxic masculinity. But so tonight we're going to talk about the male archetype myths. So you've got the alphas, the betas, and now there's a brand new type of man out there. They're called sigmas.
Who are they?
All right. So to break it down, so you have the alpha males, right? We all know guys like the alpha males. I think that if you have to call yourself an alpha male, you're basically saying, I thrive on toxic masculinity and I'm an asshole. Because let's be real. So these guys think that they're at the top of the social hierarchy. They consider themselves to be real men. the ideas that they have, greater access to power, to money, and to mates. And when I say mates, I generally mean women. They're, usually.
But there are these toxic men in the LGBTQ.
Oh, abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. We come across them on a regular basis. We see them all the fucking time. They are usually physically strong, they're intimidating, and they're dominating. And most of their mannerisms, most of their views, most of the way they conduct themselves is all about the toxic masculinity. It's all about, look at me, I'm a big man, therefore I know all the things and I know better than everybody else and blah, 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 blah. We all know the men like that. Now, I am going to say this. In the pup and handler community, there are pups that consider themselves to be alphas and pups that consider themselves to be betas. That's a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit different. So we're not really talking about that in this context. This is in terms of, men and blah, blah, blah. So when talking, we're not talking about the
Are
pups
we talking about, dare I say it, like more mainstream?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, this is definitely sort of we all know these stereotypes and these archetypes. So those are the alphas, right? Then you have the betas. Now, the beta males are basically considered to be the opposite of the alpha males. So they're at the bottom of the totem pole. They're at the bottom of the pack. They're the, submissive. They are weak and subordinate. They're considered to be of a lower status. And they're considered to be what women settle for when they decide they want the nice guy. So read, that means that basically alphas aren't nice guys. They're going to be the dicks. They're going to be the jackasses because, that's what women really want.
Oh, really?
And then, of course, you have this new thing that has popped up recently, and these are the Sigma males.
Who are they? I'm interested.
So the Sigmas fall somewhere sort of in between the alphas and the betas. They don't need validation from others.
Check.
They're not loud or brash. They're usually calm and collected.
Depending on the situation. Check.
They tend to be introverted and confident, and they don't fit into the usual groups.
Oh, check.
So
I'm a Sigma.
So basically, in this hierarchy, you've got alphas at the top, you've got betas are the followers, and then Sigmas who just don't care about expectations and don't fit the mold. Which
I kind of like that, though.
There's so many issues with all of this, though. So with the Sigmas are like the rule breakers, but they don't really like authority.
Oh, well.
They prioritize their own lifestyle, and they don't like it when somebody, wants to try and control them, and they'll only change if it's on their terms, which is fine. The problem, so there's inherent problems with all of this because
it almost is like how we do with men and women, or I'll put it this way. It's almost how we put masculine men and feminine men in these boxes.
Oh,
and
for
say,
sure.
Feminine men, you go over there. You're just gonna be the subordinates, and you're all bottoms, by the way.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna be like the toxic men over here. We're gonna grow muscles. We're gonna tell you what to do, and we're gonna rule the community. And you really don't have any say over here. You just kind of represent us a little bit, but we don't want that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing. If you're an effeminate man, you must be a beta. You can't possibly be an alpha, because you couldn't possibly be a top. You couldn't possibly be even remotely dominating. You couldn't, you couldn't have that masculine energy in any way, shape, or form. So as, an effeminate man, you must obviously be at the bottom of the barrel because you don't, lift weights and bench press things and, crush beer cans on your head.
No, like, that's so much damaging to the skin.
The problem with these types and these archetypes is that it basically it's society saying that as a man you must fit into something, and if you don't fit into anything, then you still have a label. And it's bullshit. It's the biggest bunch of bullshit. You either have to be like this leader, this macho dude, you have to be a follower, or you have to be this dude that just sits outside the mold. You can't, like, there's no gray.
I don't know. But as a person that has experienced this outside of the community before becoming a member of the community, I would say that I was affected by toxic masculinity at a very young age because somebody in my family decided that they told me that I should have been born a girl because of how sissy I was. So those things start like early on, like when people are like, stop crying like a girl. And you're like, wait a minute, girls are weak? No, they're not. So like, my mom always calls it like reverse engineering or something because, those things were said out loud to me. But in my mind, the feminine energy is stronger than the masculine energy. And so sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, well, I throw like a girl, but I mean, so.
I think it's it's interesting because you always have people that are like, well, you need to man up and blah 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 blah. So because men aren't allowed to have feelings. If you have feelings, then you can't be an alpha male. You can't show feelings. You can't have any sort of sensitivity. Cry. But what's funny to me is if you look at history and ancient history, go way the fuck back, right? Almost so many ancient societies worshipped the goddess because they knew that some form of the goddess is going to be the more powerful because everything comes from women. Life, everything, it all comes from that feminine, energy. It's not until later when you have all these people coming in that
the Western societies that were
pretty much
they were like, what? Women do what? No,
it wasn't even the Western societies. It was the male dominated societies that decided to come in and change everything from a female dominated society to something that was a male dominated society. You weren't allowed anymore to worship a female deity. They all had to be men and they all had to be like big and blah, 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 and it's fascinating to me. And because that feminine energy is by far, for me anyway, generally stronger than the masculine energy. The masculine energy usually tries too hard. I'm like, really, who are you trying to impress? Because I really don't give a fuck. Oh, look, you can lift up these pieces of metal on another piece of metal.
My favorite thing is people think because I'm an effeminate man that when I pick up things, heavy things, and I have nails. So when I pick up things, they're like, you should just see eyes just like, huh? I'm like, are we doing stuff? Or
well, that's because you can't be strong.
I'm like, so I can't be effeminate and strong. I have to be masculine and strong.
Absolutely. And
so it's so confusing.
It's always interesting because can you imagine if cisgender men had to deal with everything that came along with things like periods, the cramping, the aches and pains? There is not like you.
Those are the funnest things to watch on YouTube, by the way.
But even then, there is no way. Like you can attach things to men to try and give them the idea of what it feels like to go through childbirth or whatever. And unless you've actually done it, unless you've actually experienced that, there's nothing that can really compare. Like when it comes to things like childbirth, like either you're pushing something like the size of a football out of something that's about the size of a grape, or you're getting literally cut open. You're getting cut in half. A lot of your intestines have to be removed. So you have your guts and stuff sitting on the table over here to pull this other fucking parasite out of your body. And everybody's like, oh, that's cisgender men they wouldn't be able to handle that shit. They wouldn't. They just wouldn't. I don't give a fuck how buff you are. I don't care if you bench press 500 pounds. I don't care if you deadlift like a ton. I don't care. You could not fucking handle this shit. You couldn't fucking handle the cramps that come along with.
Who had twins?
Like
Marissa, you had twins?
Period. Like the cramp, the amount of pain and discomfort that come along with like the having your period is awful. It's fucking awful. And there is no fucking way in hell that any cis man would really be able to take that. We've all seen what happens to us when we get the man flu, which basically is any ailment. Any ailment. We get a sniffle and all of a sudden we're down for the count. And I say we because that is what happens. Like anybody that has ever been involved with any, I lay
in bed all day.
The man flu is a thing. It is a thing. I will 100%. I will own that shit. But on the flip side of that, I also know what it's like to go through the cramps and the like debilitating pain that comes along with your body deciding it wants to bleed for 5 days once a month. It's fucking stupid. Fucking stupid. Try to put a cis. I could just imagine some of these big buff cis men bleeding for 5 days. They would think they were dying.
Oh, I didn't know that they were twins.
I didn't know Marissa had twins either. Jesus, and you had them
you
naturally?
Had children, but I didn't know that you had twins.
God damn.
Learn something new every day. Here we are.
Man. Yep.
No thanks.
Yep.
I get crazy worried about the women that carry like 5 babies.
Oh God, like the sextuplets and things. I was like, first of all, where the hell are you putting that?
God. I saw one. I see one come out. If I saw 6 come out, I would be like, "Oh Lord,
nope." Oh, Lord. I'm like, where my body should not be able to stretch like that. Like, I should not be able to have a litter.
Their bodies just kind of retract. It's almost like amazing.
The body does really bizarre things, like before, during, and after childbirth. Like it literally, like basically everything from like the waist down kind of disconnects and like expands and does weird shit. Like it is weird shit. And I guarantee
2 weeks later and you're like, you had a baby in there, but you look like nothing happened.
You have like 6 babies in there, and where the fuck did everything like it's weird. Bodies are weird. But I think it's interesting that men feel they have to have this need to put themselves in these little like groups so that they know.
So, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I feel like alpha men are politicians. Most politicians, let me put it that way, who are on these boards that tell women what to do with their body.
Oh, abso-fucking-lutely. Like they because that's their job. They feel that it is not just their right, but it is their duty,
protecting their manhood,
to tell everybody what they can and can't do with themselves. But what's interesting is if you talk to pro-doms, pro-dominatrixes, dominant men, whatever, if you talk to these professional dominants, so many of their clients that are into things like humiliation and things like that, so many of them come from positions of power because they spend their lives in this dominant role that they feel they've been pushed into, and that they feel that they have to maintain this power and this dominance, that when they are out of that, they want to be pushed into this totally submissive role, and they want to be submissive and they want to be humiliated, because the energy that it takes to be this fucking alpha male is draining. And I'm like, well, then why is this necessary? It is not necessary, folks. Like, you do not have to be this big manly man. Like, it's not necessary.
So
like,
are alpha females just as toxic as alpha males?
There is the idea of toxic femininity. There is this idea, and part of that would, like, TERFs would sort of fall into that. The trans exclusionary radical feminist. That is, I mean, there are always, the flip side of things. But you also have to
more the masculine.
Well, absolutely. Because if a man is domineering and intimidating, then he's powerful. If a woman tries to act like that, then they become catty and shrew-like and a bitch.
I own this because this made me think of when Kamala Harris became vice president. Somebody was saying that they shouldn't allow an alpha female in the White House because she, and I think she said this herself, that they do not play like the role in their house. They have a combined household, but they don't have roles in their household. Like, she doesn't come home and do the cooking.
Right.
He does the cooking sometimes. He does the cleaning sometimes.
Right.
But so many people were commenting about how she's the alpha female, and I always thought, well, is that a bad thing? Because we obviously see how the state of the world is going with all the alpha males.
Well, yes, it is terrible. We can't possibly have alpha females in power. In fact, we shouldn't really have any women in power, because they get very emotional, when they're on their period, and they get very hormonal, and then they make rash decisions, and they really can't be trusted with any sort of decision. So really, we shouldn't have any women in any position of power ever. Unless, because they're not submissive. They must be submissive all the time.
So boring.
All the time.
So boring. Not happening.
I mean, what's interesting is, if you think about it, every single war has been started by men. Almost the cause of every conflict or whatever is always men. It's never women. So it's
funny.
It's fine.
Funny.
Whatever. We'll keep. Go ahead and blame the women.
I just want you to know that most committees in our country, political committees, are run by like 95% men and 5% women. I think it just barely got to 5% women, just so you know.
Yep. I say this all the time, but I absolutely think that men in particular need to call the bullshit out when it comes to the whole alpha beta bullshit, toxic masculinity. I think that we need to do a better job of calling that shit out when we see it, because other men aren't going to listen to women when they call them out.
As a society, we raise, not we,
the collective
raise our children to be, oh, you're a girl, you should be passive, you should be submissive, you should do all the things that when the boy pulls your hair, he just likes you. So those are the things that we've talked about before that lead to this, the culture where women could, and I've seen it myself, like working at a high school, you see the women are like doubting themselves. They don't think they're beautiful. They don't think this, they don't think that. And then the men just come along. They could look rugged and ugly, and they're like, yeah, I'm the shit. I'm great. I'm great. Meanwhile, the girls are still down here. They're just, yeah. So I say encourage if you have any traits that you see in your child that you encourage them to be who they are authentically. If they're a effeminate man, if they're a masculine woman, or in between, non-binary, all that happiness right there, just encourage that, because I promise you, there are some things about me that sometimes I flip a switch and I think, oh, that's not right. That's because some of that was damaging, because sometimes to myself I think, okay, you're being a little bit too effeminate, and I have these conversations with myself, and you're like, it's okay to be effeminate.
It's hard. It's hard, especially like as a trans man who is not particularly like uber masculine, as the traditional masculine, dude out there. I come from a family of softer men. All the men in my family are not like super macho. None of them are. And being a trans man, you kind of, you get that well, to be a man you have to be this way, or you have to be that way, or you have to be whatever way, and it's unlearning that as you transition. And even 7 years or so in, like, it's still behavior that I'm still unlearning that behavior, and as I'm unlearning it, I feel like it is important for me to kind of share what I've learned and unlearned, and in hopes that other trans men can feel that their worth is not based on how much facial hair they have, or how deep their voice is, or how manly they look, or how buff they look, or how big their pecs are, or whatever the fuck it is that people have told them. Like, I really wish that more trans men would just accept that you are who you are, and it doesn't matter whether you tend to be a little more effeminate or whether you tend to be more masculine. It doesn't matter.
And I know for a fact that you're not the only one that has this battle, because I follow some people on social media that have this inner battle quite like we do. And I, not that I can relate in the circumstance in which you all, because each circumstance and individual is going through their own experience, but I can relate, because in that second you're like, is this okay? Is that all right? You're checking all these boxes in your head to make a decision based on what you feel your surroundings, your society is telling you, and then all of a sudden, for me, one day it was like, fuck it.
Yep.
Just let it happen.
Yeah.
So we have spent 30 minutes on this.
It's a good topic, though. It's something that I think needs to be talked about more. So
also, I would say that it affects me so much so in our community, because my nails are my effeminate power, and all the time. And I mean all the time. Get one or two that are like, oh, you wear your nails all the time? Yes, I do. You wear them for 8 hours. I wear them for life. What's the difference here? So, I don't know.
All right, we can go ahead. Let's move on a little bit. We got a couple of interesting things as far as current events and things that are happening.
Oh.
So today, the House voted to approve legislation to establish an independent commission to investigate the violent insurrection of January 6th. The final vote was...
Oh, they are going to do it?
It's moving to the Senate. So the final vote in the House was 252 to 175, with 35 Republicans breaking ranks and voting for the bill, which is really good. The bill now goes to the Senate, and in order for it to pass the Senate, they need at least 10 Republicans to vote for the bill. So we're hoping, the hope is that, the at least 10 that maybe are friendly with the Republicans in the House that voted for it. All we need are 10. We just need 10 to vote for it and let that happen, because it needs to fucking happen. It needs to happen.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
Well, we can all make phone calls, but we see how some of them don't listen. Anyway, But I say encourage, and keep making phone calls.
Yes.
Um,
Call your senators.
I did
Call
not
your
put
senators.
anything on this because I was running late, but I
only put a couple things.
I know. I just realized that I don't know if you guys watched this special, but that's the name of the show, Special, on Netflix. What I meant to say is show, but my brain said that's an S word. Let's take it. But it's having its last season, just like Pose is. But it's like Special only had what, 2 seasons?
I have no idea. I haven't seen it. No idea what it is.
It focuses on being queer and having a disability.
Oh.
Because the main character, I believe, I don't want to get it wrong, has I never can say
cerebral
it.
palsy.
And is in a wheelchair, I believe. I haven't watched it in a minute because, life. But they're having their last season, but it kind of focuses on that portion of our community that not a lot of people talk about. So I just found out that it's having its last season, and I bring it up because we don't really talk about pop culture. I try to stay away from it because pop culture can be weird and raggy. But if you have not seen it on Netflix, I believe, I encourage you to go watch it. I've dated someone like this, so I kind of relate to that. That was a long time ago. But not to laugh at the subject at hand, but I think that is something that if you just open your eyes to it, there's so many beautiful people out there. And if you've met my husband, he's special too. What else did I share on here? Oh, look at here. Talking about toxic masculinity. The Texas governor signs fetal heartbeat abortion ban. Now, the short little synopsis that NBC put on here is Texas becomes the largest state with a law that bans abortions before many women know they're even pregnant. Let me read that to you again. Texas becomes the largest state with a law that bans abortions before many women even know they're pregnant. Now, again, it should say person or many people, but here we are in 2021. Oh, updated this too, by the way.
Yeah.
I said it during the story. But here we are, a table full of cisgender white men telling people, okay, you have a baby and now you have to keep it. Next, trust me, once they get this whole abortion thing under their dicks, they'll chase what's the one where you can drop the baby off? That will be next.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then, they'll start the whole circus again where they talk about gays can't adopt because we're still in that circus. And it'll just keep going because that's why I say call these people. You don't like something, call them. Annoy the fuck out of them until you get a response like I do. I haven't heard from Kristen Cinema yet, though. She'd be ignored.
She's a whole nother.
There's a rally on the 20th. I'm not sure if I can go though, but
I don't know if I can either. But let's see. Oh, and the CDC, of course, I'm sure everybody has heard this. The CDC now says that fully vaccinated people don't have to wear masks, like pretty much.
How do you know that somebody's fully vaccinated?
So this is my thing. So there is currently an upswing in vaccinated people that are testing positive. I, in fact, know a handful of people that have been vaccinated that have caught either one of the new strains or have tested positive. Now, and mind you, the experts have all said that currently herd immunity in the US is not achievable because we have less than half the country is vaccinated, and there's still too many anti-vaxxers out there, and we can't vax kids that are under 12, and like it. So there's all of these things, right? And so now the CDC has said that basically we have to go by the honor system. And if you're not vaccinated, wear a mask. And if you are vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. Now, here's the thing.
Also, Fry's stores have said that you can enter their stores without masks.
A lot of places have. A lot of places have now. I'm still wearing my mask. Why? Because I don't trust y'all. I don't. We know, full stop. We know that the people who don't want to get vaccinated and aren't vaccinated have been refusing to wear a mask anyway.
From the beginning.
So what's going to change now? Nothing, except that now they're putting more people at risk because the CDC. I don't. Here's my thing. I don't understand, especially since everybody has said that herd immunity is not possible because we're less than half vaccinated and there's too many people that are still refusing. Why? What?
Didn't Fauci say that people that are vaccinated could be in the same room too, or
right? I mean, they did say a while back that if you were unvaccinated, you could be in a room with a small group of people that were also fully vaccinated and be without masks and stuff. We get that, but I find myself really struggling with this because we're still anywhere between 600 and 1,000 new cases a day here in Arizona. And there are, places I know, like Colorado was a hot spot and has been a hot spot. We've seen what their numbers have been. Portland, same thing. But yet the CDC is just like, okay, well, no big deal. Just don't wear a mask now. We're fine. And I'm like, wait, why? What are you even fucking talking about? Like, we are not, yes, we're at a point where we can better socialize with folks that are vaccinated and, small groups and things like that. And I get that, but to just be like, okay, well, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask anywhere anymore. So, and then trust that the people that aren't vaccinated are going to wear a mask. Come on. Really?
I feel like, okay. So I want to say this because I come from this world of education, and so do you. You know how, because you can't wear a hat. I told you you can't wear a hat. Mm-hmm. Now I have to tell the whole school they can't wear a hat.
Right.
So I feel like the yes, exactly, Shannon. I feel like the CDC became like the principal that was like, I'm not winning this fight.
Right.
And said, okay, you can't wear a mask, but you can. They didn't want to have that fight.
Right.
So they said, okay, everybody just be honest. If you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear your mask. And it became like a CYA for them.
Right.
And a CYA for everybody else, like where they're saying like these are only recommendations.
And what I don't understand is, so because nobody's allowed to ask for vaccination records, which I'm like, but wait a minute. If you play sports, you have to provide proof of vaccinations. Schools still require proof of vaccinations. There are places where you travel where, depending on how long you're going to be there and what you're doing, you have to provide proof of vaccinations. So why the fuck can't places be like, oh, I see you're not wearing your mask. Let me see your proof of vaccination.
That is a very good question. So public entities are not allowed to ask for health records. There's like this. I could get into it.
Oh, I know. I think it's dumb as fuck. I know what but I think it's stupid.
I also know that COVID, because of the orange person, became less of a health issue. We all know this. This is less of a health issue than it is a political issue. This is where the CDC and everybody went and just said, you know what? Because also, Pfizer is one of the biggest money-making pharmaceuticals in the nation, and they have a deal with the government. So I think that, and I mean this with the best intent when I say this, I think the government wants you to get sick so that they, in turn, can depend on Pfizer. Pfizer can get paid, and
it's a total racket. It's an absolute racket. That's exactly what it is, because we don't have universal health care. It's
all proprietary.
It is, and it's really disappointing. And you know, I commend the places that are still enforcing masks in their establishments or whatever it is. Like I think that they're absolutely doing the right thing. And I'm really kind of disappointed in the places that as soon as the CDC said that, they were just like, okay, we didn't do our masks, we're done. Because I'm like, you're still putting people at risk, and people are still going to be at risk. And you know, when I kind of feel like I'm at a loss at this point. And
you're feeling like the CDC. There you have it.
And it's like, I haven't been to a bar. I haven't been to a bar show. I haven't performed in a bar show in over a year. And I don't know that I'm entirely ready to do that, because I see people that go to a bar show and then 2 weeks later they end up testing positive. I see people go to a bar show that is supposed to be enforcing masks, but there's pictures with people with no masks.
My pictures are only in the dressing room with no mask.
Yeah.
I will say though, I say that if you do see somebody with a mask on and you don't believe that you should be wearing a mask, civility and niceness goes very far than being a dick. Don't be rude to people that are still wearing masks. Don't treat them like, why are you wearing a mask? Because I say culturally, after this, if people decide to wear masks because they're sick or they don't want to infect other people because of what they have, or they don't want to catch what other people have, or they're immunocompromised, and this is a great thing for them to have. Culturally, I've been exposed to, I lived in California, Asian people tell you to wear umbrellas and cover your face with a mask. That has always been a thing. Me personally, I didn't choose to until COVID decided to get too crazy, and I was like, yeah, first things first, I'm not catching this. But I'm highly conflicted as well. There are some people that at first I thought were like germaphobes in my workplace that haven't been wearing masks, but maybe it's because they're vaccinated, they feel comfortable. I don't know, but I still wear mine around my workplace. So I don't know.
So I'm curious. I'm gonna throw this out there to the people that are watching or listening or whatever. How many folks who are watching or listening that normally get like a cold or a summer cold or a flu or whatever that have been wearing their masks? How many of you didn't get sick this year with that? If you had COVID, that's different. But in terms of your usual like flu or cold or whatever, like.
I didn't get back to school flu this year.
I didn't get I didn't get sick this year either.
And you were around kids.
I was around kids, and
and they weren't at school.
The first time in fact, the last few years from 2019 and before, Lord knows 2019, I had the flu twice. I had flu A and flu B right as I was going to nationals. Like I had the flu twice. I almost always get like a really bad summer cold. I didn't last year. And like I haven't had anything this year really. Like I had some stomach issues, but we discovered what that was. We realized what that was, and that was easily fixable. But as far as like respiratory things, as far as the cold, as far as the flu, I didn't have any of it. Nothing. And
Now,
I
they are
100%
saying,
attribute that to wearing a mask and being smart about that shit.
so I have to be careful about what I'm saying about this. My allergies have been a little bit better, but they are seeing some fungal infections in lungs for people that don't wash their masks regularly.
If you're not washing your mask, you gross.
I mean, if you want to smell that all day, that's your thing. You know, my hygiene was great, but now it's better.
Right? Now everybody's it's like, oh, look, washing your hands. Funny how that works, right?
I'm talking about my teeth and my breath.
Everything, right? Because you have to breathe in that shit. Although, have you sneezing in my mask is still a pain in my ass. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, that's still a thing. I'm like, should I carry an extra mask? Just
right. It like blows back in your face, and you're like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah. So, I would say I haven't been as sick, other than being fatigued from overworking myself, but that was like a day thing.
Like I mean, COVID fatigue and just the pandemic fatigue is definitely a thing. But as far as being actually sick, like I guarantee you, the folks that have been wearing their masks and stuff have been feeling considerably better, with the exception of if they managed to catch COVID, which is another thing entirely. But yeah, so. Anywho, do we have any upcoming gigs? I don't have any upcoming gigs.
Oh,
actually, I lied.
Yes,
I do, but not until next month, though.
Well, we can talk about it,
I guess.
So on May 26th, I have something of a different color hosted by. Why isn't it showing up on my phone? Wow, that's rude. Oh, there it is. Honey Davenport, and I don't know how to say her name, but I'm gonna give it a try. I'm horrible at names, so I'll be the first to admit. I'll be like, I don't know how to say your name. So I want to say Safaria Cristal. I think that's her name. But it's on my Facebook page. I'll post it everywhere because you know how I get. And that's on the 26th. They have 2 shows, one at 5 p.m. Pacific time and 8 p.m., which were on at that time. So watch them. I'm just kidding.
Right. Let's do the earlier one. Let's see. What do I have? So in June on the 25th, which is a Friday, Teddy, Michael, and myself are going to be presenting our From Allies to Accomplices Leaping into Action presentation at the Let's Get Better Together conference, which we're really excited about. It'll be a virtual conference. You can get tickets to it. There's all sorts of different discussions that are happening, all sorts of different panels. So I highly recommend getting your tickets to that. And then on the 26th of June, I will be doing the Drag Queen Story Hour, Pride Story Hour, and this is the National Drag Queen Story Hour. This isn't the Arizona chapter. This is the national Drag Queen Story Hour, which I believe is at 11 a.m. our time.
Yay!
But we'll be pushing that, and at some point we're going to be breaking for our season. I just don't know when.
Yeah, and on the 19th, I will be doing the Juneteenth story hour.
Yes.
And then on the 24th and 25th, I will be hosting that conference that you will be having your segment at, or your workshop at.
Awesome. Very cool.
I didn't know that you were doing that until I was like, oh, I noticed these names on the schedule. They're like, you know anybody? I was like, I may know some people on this list. Details to come, because I'm not sure how I'm hosting it virtually or how they're.
It's interesting.
It's kind of interesting getting to see, because everybody does it differently. Like I have my way of doing things, and then other people are like, no, we're going to do it this way. And I'm like, oh.
Okay. I guess we'll see. I think that's all we have coming up right now, though, and we'll of course keep you posted on when we decide to break for the summer and end the season, so that we
definitely need to break for the summer, because what happened, we need to personally, I'll start getting fatigued because I work 10-hour days in the summer. And then I will not.
Yeah, but she only works 4 days a week, so don't
I mean, whatever. I will not.
Just 3-day weekends all summer. I have no.
Yes, 2 months. 2 months of school. School summers are not long like they used to be. But we definitely need to get new computers, though.
Yeah, we need to figure that out, because I don't know if this is gonna last through the summer. We're gonna try, but. Yeah.
But we'll be in person somehow getting these computers, because I don't trust shipped computers for some reason.
Yeah, that's a little. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. So, anyway, thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. And for those of you that watch live and on the replay, we appreciate your support all through this 9th season, which will be coming to a close at some point.
I'm excited about season 10, though. I have ideas.
I know. I feel like that needs to be like a big, exciting season or something.
I have many ideas.
Oh, good. I have some ideas as well.
Well, we'll see you next week for your Wednesday night conversation. Good night.
Good night.
Promotional consideration for Let's Have a Fefe provided by Wigs of a Kind, The Burly Barber, Bone and Basil, as well as our patrons at Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Let's Have a Fefe to become a Fefe patron. Virtual tips accepted at paypal.me/Let's Have a Fefe. Subscribe to the Let's Have a Fefe podcast. You can listen on your favorite podcatcher. See you next week for your Wednesday night conversation. This has been Let's Have a Fefe.